Hi, I'm Erin Kavanaugh from Glastonbury High School.
And I'm Jacob Irons from Plainfield High School.
Welcome to the CIAC Virtual Sportsmanship Conference.
We hope the next 90 minutes inspires you to keep spreading sportsmanship across the state of Connecticut.
Do you remember seeing this video clip back in 2018? Well, it went viral.
This morning, the player behind this hug scene around the world is here to share his story.
And if you've never heard the story behind this touchdown that happened here in Connecticut, you've come to the right place as we spotlight the impact of sportsmanship in our home state.
How about all the cool things schools are doing to make sportsmanship come alive across Connecticut? We'll fill you in while celebrating the 16 Connecticut schools that are being honored this year with Michael's Cup Awards.
And get your questions ready for a sportsmanship panel discussion with Craig Breslow, Bria Holmes, and Chris Williams.
Sportsmanship in Connecticut. It's alive and well in high school sports.
We're so excited to be here. We're all in this together.
The CIAC's Virtual Sportsmanship Conference is made possible thanks to partner support from Jostens and Jostens Renaissance, from the Connecticut Army National Guard, from the Connecticut Department of Public Health, from Horace Mann and Liberty Bank, and from Pullman and Comley and Connecticut Lighting Centers.
Good morning, Connecticut student athletes. It's a great day at the CIAC. I'm Glenn Lungarini, the Executive Director of CAS-CIAC. These past 11 months have challenged our school communities to adapt to an ever-changing environment. In the face of this adversity, our school communities continue to thrive, thanks to the leadership provided by the more than 800 students attending this conference. Each of you have responded as class acts and maintaining meaningful relationships among your teammates and coaches in the face of social isolation, and promoting positive messages on COVID mitigation strategies to motivate others and doing their part to stop the spread, and inspiring those in your community to appreciate and value every moment that we were able to share with each other. As a former CIAC and collegiate athlete and coach, I speak from experience in telling you that when you reflect on your days as a high school athlete, it will not be the wins or losses that make up those memories. Rather, it will be the moments you shared with your friends and families. It will be the meaningful relationships you developed with teachers, coaches, and peers. It will be the pride in knowing that the positive impact you leave behind will benefit those who follow more than your own personal gain. In the words of Weston High School's Rebecca Strauch, it's about respecting each other in the game. As Sacred Heart High School's Nathan Stallmark stated, sportsmanship requires one to respect the mutual love for the sport that rises above the clash between opponents that both seek victory. In Connecticut, these words were never more evident than when the Avon and Wilkett Tech football teams came together to provide an act of mutual support in athlete Nick Reardon's battle with cancer. Or on a national level, when Ty Koehn from Minnesota, in an act of true sportsmanship and empathy, took time to console his friend, who he had just struck out to win a state tournament game, before celebrating with his own teammates. A moment that has come to be known as the hug scene around the world. We are honored to have Ty join us today and share his experience of how the bonds of sport reach far beyond the win-loss column. On behalf of everyone at CIAC, thank you, Connecticut student-athlete leaders, for being the inspiration behind education-based interscholastic athletics. Thank you for your courage in facing adversity with a sense of empathy and strength. And thank you for attending today's CIAC Sportsmanship Conference to continue your growth as leaders amongst your peers. To formally begin today's conference, I ask that you all now please rise as Glastonbury High School senior Paige Drury honors America with the singing of our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's But so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's proud glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Good morning. So nice to have Paige Drury singing the national anthem. She certainly is a CIAC favorite. She has performed the anthem at our basketball championships at Mohegan in the past, before UConn basketball games, before Hartford Wolfpack hockey games, and Hartford Yard Goat baseball games. Paige, thank you so much. Hi, everybody. My name is John Holt from the CAS-CIAC staff. Glad you are with us this morning. We have 800 students joining us from across the state, from Plainfield to Winstead, Ledyard to Norwalk. So glad to have you. Simple question for you. How does sportsmanship come alive at your school? I'd like you to think about that throughout the program this morning, and we hope to inspire you for the full 90 minutes, right to the end when we hear from the one and only Dr. Phil Campbell, PC. Whether you're joining us in a socially distanced group at your school this morning, or it's a remote day and you're at home, we thank you for being with us. We actually have a school from Pennsylvania with us this morning as well. Anvil Cleona High School joining us. We say hello to the Dutchman and their athletics director, Tommy Long. Thanks for being with us this morning. And thanks to those of you that shared your t-shirt photos in the last week. Take a look at this photo collage. Again, 80 schools from across the state represented today. And to keep the photos coming, by the way, during the conference, no matter where you are, tweeting at us or sharing on Instagram, tag at CIAC Sports on both platforms, hashtag alive and well. And also get your sportsmanship questions ready for our panel. We did get late word that Bria Holmes will be unable to join us this morning. She has a sick child. We understand that, but we want to get your questions for Craig Breslow, the 12-year Major League pitcher out of Trumbull, and Chris Williams, a former Division I point guard turned best-selling author and motivational speaker. Put your questions in the chat. These are basically experts you can ask about sportsmanship. Put your first name, your high school, and who you are directing the question to. Now, later in the conference, we will announce our first ever grant winners for the CIAC Sportsmanship Award. Stay tuned for that, and we'll honor the Michaels Cup winners as well. Put your feed in speaker view. That's the best way to enjoy the conference. Also, throughout the next 90 minutes, we will feature some students who contributed to our 2021 campaign. That's a 20-second video or a 21-word statement on what sportsmanship means to them and how sportsmanship comes alive at their school. In fact, we start with these.
Sportsmanship goes further than on an athletic field. Treating others with respect and kindness, having a positive attitude, and giving our best effort are things you and I can do in the classroom and in our respective sports. Good sportsmanship fosters an environment for everyone to learn, grow, and be a part of something.
In my opinion, sportsmanship requires one to recognize the mutual love for the sport that rises above the clash between opponents who both seek victory. Sportsmanship requires an athlete treat their opponent in a way that promotes the integrity of the game, and thereby ensures all athletes experience the joy of competitive sports.
5, 6, 7, 8. Hi, we're Bluefield High School. We're a class high school. Through hard work and good sportsmanship, we strive to be number one.
That's how sportsmanship came alive at Ledyard in Wheeler a couple of years back. Just a wonderful story. How does sportsmanship come alive at your school? Tweet us and tag us on Instagram at CIAC Sports. And yes, the CIAC turns 100 on May 5th this year. We want to welcome in a special guest, a familiar face to Connecticut high school sports followers and fans from the National Federation of High Schools out of Indianapolis, Dr. Karissa Niehoff.
Hello, everyone. I'm Karissa Niehoff, the Executive Director of the National Federation of State High School Associations. I used to live in Connecticut, and I still have my CIAC jacket here. I'm very proud of this. On behalf of everyone at the NFHS, I want to congratulate you all for your continued commitment to sportsmanship. Holding this conference is extremely important, and I love the theme, Alive and Well. Certainly, sportsmanship is alive and well in Connecticut. Thanks to all of you, the student athletes, thanks to your coaches, your administrators, your schools, and your communities for your support of the CAS-CIAC program. That's just one way that you all have demonstrated your CAS-CIAC commitment to sportsmanship in Connecticut. You know, we've talked about sportsmanship for a long time, at the local level, with your teams and your schools, at the community level, when we talk about all levels of sport, from recreational through scholastic, even through collegiate and professional sports. And certainly we talk about the importance of sportsmanship at the national level. And while we've known it to be a critical component to successful sport experiences, I think we've never realized its importance before in this kind of way due to the COVID pandemic. You know, when we lose things, we often realize their importance through reflection when we don't have them. And I think as we come through the pandemic, we've learned how important sport experiences are to all of us and how important sportsmanship is to making sure those experiences are healthy. It's really important to note that as we get these opportunities back, we do so in a way that we take special care of the opportunities themselves and of each other. And there's no better way to do that than committing to holding ourselves to high standards of sportsmanship. Let's be the model of civility, a model of honorable behavior, and a CAS-CIAC model of sportsmanship. We know that sport can be a model for society, and you, the student athletes, who deserve nothing but the best experience possible, you, the coaches, and you, the school administrators, who have the awesome privilege of supporting and developing and guiding student athletes through these programs. We need your commitment every day to sportsmanship as the most critical component of an athletic program. Here at the National Federation, we stand ready to support you in every way that we can, on a national level, to your state associations, to your schools, and to each of you as participants in the education-based opportunities that your schools afford you. And we absolutely celebrate you and celebrate those opportunities. Connecticut, we know you can do this. We know you have led the national scene through your commitment to sportsmanship, and everyone in this nation is paying attention. We are proud of you, we support you, and we wish you the best of luck. Take good care of yourselves and of one another. Up next, it's my pleasure to put the sportsmanship spotlight on a memorable Connecticut story from 2009 that happened during a football game between Avon and Wolcott Tech.
In 2009, just a few days after surgery for testicular cancer and about to see his football season and his football career end to start chemotherapy, Wolcott Tech senior Nick Reardon was at the center of an act of sportsmanship that few who saw it will ever forget.
Put me in. I didn't know what was going on. Everybody else knew what was happening. I didn't. I was kind of lost.
Wolcott Tech coach Jamie Coty got Nick in the game for one final play, and it was Avon coach Brett Quinion who said, "Let's get the kid a touchdown."
He's like, "Let's get this kid a touchdown." So I was like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah, let's do it."
It was just a simple gesture on our part. We're glad to do what we did, but the story's really about Nick.
Nick, usually a guard, linebacker, and a punter for Wolcott Tech, was on this occasion the running back and the recipient of an opponent's kindness that meant so much to he and his family.
Figured maybe it was just a one last hurrah, since after that point on I wouldn't be able to play anymore. I had no idea that they had talked prior and set anything up. It was very special because I had never obviously scored a touchdown because I wasn't a running back or a receiver or anything. So the moment in itself just for scoring a touchdown was very special for me. And then when my whole team surrounded me in the end zone and everything, it was very overwhelming emotionally, and it was a good spirit lifter at the time.
Weeks later, Coach Koehn and the Avon football team would return to Wolcott Tech for a benefit dinner for Nick and his family.
It was special for me, but I think it was a lot more special for my parents because, you know, they had a son that was sick, and it was very emotional for everybody.
Still gives me goosebumps to see that. And the best news, you saw Nick today versus back in 2009. He is a healthy, soon-to-be 30-year-old, still in the Torrington area, working as an HVAC technician. We want to talk more about the impact of sportsmanship. And to do that, we bring in Jamie Coty, who you saw as a young man 11 years ago in that video. Coach, welcome in. What do you remember about that moment in that play versus Avon?
You know, I talked to Coach Koehn before the game, and I said, listen, he just had surgery, so he still has stitches in his groin. I said, if the game gets out of hand, can I get him in the punt and you not rush? And he was like, oh, yeah, sure, no problem. So then the start of the fourth quarter, you know, we had turned the ball over 6 or 7 times. And he called timeout, and he comes walking across the field, and he said, hey, let's get him a touchdown. And I was just blown away by that act of kindness. Really was. It was amazing.
Absolutely. And as it happened, how did it make you feel? It was emotional for you too on the sidelines, right?
Oh yeah, I was crying like a baby. I was crying. You know, it transcends sports. An act like that when somebody's going through a cancer and you know, getting ready to start chemotherapy, it just goes to show you what, like, his spirits were so lifted after that. I mean, he came to practice the next day, and he would look like he had this new hope. And I think part of that was absolutely because of what they did for him.
Well, let's take a look again at the play so people can appreciate it, the video and some of the photos. His mom is a photographer. She was positioned. She knew it was coming. Nick was the only person who didn't know it was coming. His mom told the Hartford Current, yes, it was staged, but the Avon kids made it look real. For me, heaven opened up and the angel said, this is going to be okay. What a relief for the family too, right? They were going through this with him. And I know the family really appreciated it, Jamie.
Oh yeah, and his mom and dad were great. And you know, he came in as a sophomore when we started the program, and he just worked hard every single day. And senior year, that summer, he was conditioning and lifting, and he really thought it was going to be his year to really dominate. And then right before the season, right before our games, he got the news, and then his spirits were just so down. But he never stopped coming to practice. Never stopped watching film session. You know, was always encouraging his teammates. And, you know, I had kids say, oh, coach, my leg hurts. I can't practice today. I'm like, you have a kid battling cancer who shows up to practice every day. Like, how does that make you feel? And he's like, you know, coach, you're right. And it just really changed the whole dynamic of that team that year.
Yeah, it really puts things in perspective. I know Coach Koehn, who later coached at Northwest Catholic, out of coaching at the moment, as far as I know, very humble guy. He declined an opportunity to come on and join us today because he doesn't want the spotlight on him. How did you find Brett Koehn? Very humble, right? As someone who would think of this to begin with.
Oh yeah, not just humble, but a great mentor. You know, when I was new to the league, you know, we would be in league meetings, and he just kind of took me in and said, you know, anything you need, anything you guys need. I know you're a young program, and you know, always sharing film and ideas, and I could always pick his brain. Very, very, very good man. Very humble.
This was really in the infancy of Twitter and social media in 2009. So this didn't truly go viral because we didn't talk that way at that point. But it got major national attention, local media coverage, and then the NFL Network produced a long story, spent 3 days, I believe, in Torrington filming it, and won a National Emmy Award. What do you make of all the attention this got? It was great positive attention. Did it become a little overwhelming?
It did at times, especially for some of the other players, and especially because when you're kids, you don't always understand the big picture. Like I remember when I played for Wilby High School, I felt I was invincible, that I was going to play forever. You don't always understand the impact of these kinds of life-changing things. But the kids, they rallied around it, and they rallied around Nick.
Tell me about the way the play was designed. I understand that his best friend, Kyle Eustace, was the lead blocker for this. His buddy led him to the end zone?
Yeah. So I called him over. I said, Nick, get at running back. He said, Coach, what are you talking about? I said, listen, take the ball and don't stop running. Kyle's going to open up a hole for you. And, we were backed up on like the 10-yard line. And I think Avon did such a great job. I mean, if you look at the film clip, I mean, it looks like any football play you see on any Friday night or Saturday in the state. And that just added to it. At that moment in time, he'll live in that moment forever. He outran those kids, and the only time he ever got to carry the ball, he scored a touchdown, and his best friend was leading the way.
That's just tremendous. And then from what I understand, a few weeks later, Coach Koehn and the Avon football team in their jerseys returned to Wolcott Tech for a benefit dinner to support the Reardon family. We saw one of the photos where Coach Koehn was being welcomed in, coming through the line back into Wolcott Tech for the dinner. What a nice gesture that was, too.
They showed up in a double-decker bus, and they had so many. They must have had like 70 football players. They were all there. And then that even helped with, there were other teams in the area, players and coaches came. And I think that was in direct relation to what Coach did, and Coach had put out the word. And it was just tremendous amount of support, especially from an opponent. You don't really see that too often.
Yeah, it got the statewide attention, which was beautiful. His dad said that the gesture by Coach Koehn was the greatest thing he could have done for us and the family. So I guess, Jamie, as we wrap up, and thank you for your time and rearranging your work schedule this morning to join us, what's the takeaway message here about sportsmanship and maybe the things you've learned as a longtime coach, putting in countless hours beyond what the paycheck allows for as a high school coach? What have you learned about sportsmanship?
I think sportsmanship is one of the most important things and should be taught from day one. And you don't have to have talent and skill and speed, and every single one of your players can express sportsmanship by just being kind, helping the kid up after the play, congratulating them on a well-fought victory. Every single kid should and be taught sportsmanship just from day one. That's what I try to do.
Coach Jamie Coty, thank you so much for sharing this and being part of one of the more memorable moments in Connecticut high school sports in the last 20 years. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, John.
All right, that moment at Wolcott Tech may have been just the beginning. Wolcott Tech has really picked up some steam with its CAS-CIAC program. We want to show you some CAS-CIAC videos produced by students at their schools, letting you know what they're doing for sportsmanship initiatives. And perhaps you can take away some things from this and implement similar programs at your own school. And we begin with Wolcott Tech.
At Oliver Wolcott Technical High School, we believe that community and volunteer service is a great way to bond our student athletes off the court so we can build a family on the court. This is our foundation for our CAS-CIAC program. Some of our big projects in the winter are the Toy Drive, Christmas Village Parade, and Breakfast with Santa Claus program at our local daycare and the Soup Kitchen. Our CAS-CIAC program has made a positive impact in our school and community.
My name is Trevor Zaperi, here at Oliver Wolcott Technical High School, part of the CAS-CIAC Council and also a student athlete. And I love being in the CAS-CIAC Council because it brings all of the players together, and we're doing a favor and helping out the community, and I love it, and I'll continue to do it until my senior year. So,
I'm part of the Class Act Council because it brings our team together off the court and bonds our school community.
The reason why I like being part of my school's Class Act leadership program is because it brings our school together and it helps our community around us, and we just get closer as a whole.
I decided to join the Class Act Council because I enjoy being given the opportunity to give back to my community through various activities, and it creates many friendships amongst all the different teams.
As a student athlete, I believe that doing community service has taught me many lessons. One of them has been, helping the ones in need, and I believe that also community service has helped me create memories with my teammates and has created a bigger bond between student athletes in the school.
I like being a part of Class Act because we give a positive effect back to the community and we do it all together.
I believe in community service because it makes the people around me better and the community better. I also do it because it's just a great thing to do and inspires people to do great things.
I joined Class Act because I wanted to make a difference in my community and the school, and I believe that it has an impact because it brings us together and it creates this relationship between all of us.
As a Class Act student, I like to help out the community because it brings our team and our school together by helping out to everyone, like as kids to adults.
I joined Class Act Council because I wanted to get together with my friends and go out and make an impact on the community, and it definitely helps our teams get way closer and also influences other students in the school to try the same stuff.
I enjoy being part of Class Act because it brings me closer to my teammates and some of the people who do this as community service but to help out the school, and it brings me closer to them and make me feel like a bigger part of their family, not just within the school but within ourselves.
My name is Cameron Bosco. And my name is Cassie Bosco. Before we get started, here's a glimpse into Suffield High's athletic program. We founded the Student Athletic Advisory Council at Suffield High School. Before we explain how we are fulfilling our goals shown on this slide, we want to introduce our core values and the SAAC's leadership team.
Suffield athletes demonstrate a commitment to their sport through continual academic, social, and physical efforts.
Suffield athletes respect their teammates, coaches, opponents, and officials.
Suffield athletes always put in their best effort.
We can count on our athletes every season to bring their positive behavior and work hard no matter what.
Suffield athletes are encouraging to everyone around them, on and off the field. Suffield athletes prioritize open, positive communication with their coaches and teammates.
Suffield athletes, coaches, and parents always having fun.
Now that we've introduced ourselves, here is a little bit about how we're making our mission a reality. To organize our group, we set up 3 different committees and appointed 2 to 3 committee chairs to each to lead each group. Our 3 committees are Wildcat Experience, Community Relations, and Student Athlete Representation. We hosted guest speakers for NCCC athletes. We hosted a virtual Zoom event to educate high school athletes about the collegiate athletic experience. We held a fundraiser and used the proceeds to show Suffield Athletics support for breast cancer awareness. We are continuing to work hard towards our mission, and we hope this inspires you to do the same. Thanks for watching!
Sports has the power to change the world. It has the power to inspire. It has the power to unite people in a way that little else does. Nelson Mandela. This Class Act Council was created to unite all the sports leaders in our school to uphold the values of sportsmanship and bring athletes and students together through athletic competition. Our council has promoted school spirit and have assisted in keeping high school sports fun and safe for everyone involved.
We created and promoted an Instagram account to advertise our sporting events to increase student and community activity at Ledyard High School athletic events. There were assigned themes to each of the games, from Hawaiian shirts to blackouts, all to raise spirit for the games that we were attending.
The Class Act Council also makes sure the competitions go smoothly. An athlete reads out the sportsmanship guidelines created by the Class Act Council. These guidelines tell athletes and the spectators to not cheer against and to respect the officials. The oath was there to ensure people respect the officials and the opposing athletes.
Even in these dire times with the pandemic and sports being canceled, we still push through all and continue to raise the spirits of students and athletes alike. This started with Officials Appreciation Week to show our gratitude for all the game officials who we were still committed to ensuring we could play the sports that we love. We thanked them and gave them Ledger masks, and thank you for officiating all of our athletic events.
We organized a sports equipment drive to raise gear to donate to the Parks and Recreation program in our town. We had students, teachers, and athletes all donate to the cause. This was to give back to the programs that all athletes have gone through. It was a huge success. We raised 7 boxes of athletic equipment for the drive.
The latest project was a video to help raise the spirits of the school while still preaching safety and the usage of masks. We did this to make sure the students who were participating in sports were wearing masks, washing their hands, practicing social distancing, and making safe decisions at all times to ensure we could continue to play the sports we love. The second video was made to lift up the spirits of the entire school community, not just the student athletes. These videos were posted on multiple social media platforms so our message can be heard by all.
It is a privilege to be part of the Class Act Council at Ledger High School. We understand the importance of modeling and encouraging sportsmanship values both in and out of athletic arenas. Through sports, we build community among teammates, fellow athletes, classmates, and our greater community.
COVID-19 sidelined our student athletes.
This new normal doesn't have to be our permanent normal. We are the game changers.
It's time for teamwork, whether we're in school or hanging with friends.
Mask up
and guard your grill.
The ball is in our court.
Let's all do our part so we can get back in the game.
It's just great to see Sydney Fulton starring in that PSA from Capital Prep. I know her father, Chris Fulton, the athletics director at Windsor High School, is very proud of her, as he should be. Hey, just a reminder, get your questions in the chat right now for Craig Breslow and Chris Williams. We want to know about sportsmanship. It's your chance to give us your first name, your high school, and who you direct that question towards. We want to welcome in our panelists right now. As we mentioned, Bria Holmes, a WNBA player, scheduled to join us, is unable to do so this morning, but we are thrilled to have with us Craig Breslow, the 12-year Major League pitcher, a Trumbull High School grad and a Yale grad, and Chris Williams, the former D1 point guard at Manhattan College, turned best-selling author and motivational speaker. Gentlemen, welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks. Nice to see both of you. We want to learn a little bit more about their background, starting with Craig. As we mentioned, 1998 grad of Trumbull High School, won a Class AA state championship, was the winner in that game, went on to pitch at Yale as a captain before a 12-year big league career, including with the Red Sox, won a world championship in 2013. Bria Holmes was supposed to be with us. She is one of our favorites, currently a free agent in the WNBA, played with the Connecticut Sun last year, had a great career at Hill House with 3 state championships. We'll have Bria at a future event. And back in 1993, Chris Williams led the Manhattan Jaspers to the NCAA tournament. These days, he's a broadcaster for Manhattan College basketball games, and as mentioned, a best-selling author and motivational speaker, going by the coolest nickname on the block, Uncle Smoothie. Someday, I won't be ever as cool to have a nickname like that. Craig, welcome in. Craig, by the way, recently promoted to be the assistant general manager of the Chicago Cubs. Craig, it's good to have you. Let's start with you. What is your definition of sportsmanship?
Well, in an oversimplified view of the world, I'd say good sportsmanship. It's being a good teammate, right? It's a guy that that maybe when you're struggling a little bit, when you're not the best performer, guys still kind of want you around. They still want to go to battle with you every day because they know that your intentions are what's best for the group, not an individual achievement or accomplishment. And at the same time, it kind of makes you the guy that nobody likes to play against, but everyone respects for all the same reasons.
Yeah, very well said. All right, Chris, your turn. What does sportsmanship mean to you?
Well, good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here again with Craig. I think he touched on almost everything I was going to say. However, I'll just add, being able to respect yourself, respect the game, and respect the participants. Because obviously, you want to understand that you want to have fun, when you're having fun, when you respect all three of those areas, you can compete and really enjoy yourself at the highest level.
Craig, taking you back to the Trumbull High School days, where were you in your development compared to where you are now as an adult that's really seen the world? Was sportsmanship something you prioritized or had to learn it as you went? I know your dad, who's a state legend, a coaching legend on the sports scene. You were also a soccer player at Trumbull. What did you learn? What lessons were you learning at the high school level?
Yeah, in terms of kind of where I was in my kind of development evolution, there was certainly some immaturity that we all face, I think, at that age. And I absolutely credit my parents for kind of instilling in me the importance of sportsmanship, of education, of some of these kind of central themes. But I think the thing that I probably most struggled with, and maybe some of the things that I see similar kind of aged kids struggle with, is just this idea, or I suppose two ideas. One is making sure you're not bogged down, as I said earlier, in these individual achievements, but putting your team first. That's really difficult when, I think there aren't always kind of convergent incentives or motivations in sports, right? In high school, how many athletes are playing because they love the game, they enjoy spending time with their friends versus are looking for a college scholarship, right? And sometimes that makes it difficult to put the team first. So that's certainly one thing. The other thing that I can remember struggling with is this idea that if I were a good sport, somehow that was a weakness. That if I didn't absolutely want to kind of pulverize my opponent, that somehow I was vulnerable, right? And later on, I realized that that's absolutely not the case, right? That I can compete on the field ferociously. I can, exhaust every advantage or resource that I have, and I can do that within the rules of the game, and I can respect my opponent afterward.
Chris, how does an athlete stay a class act and deal with disappointment? Because you're going to have your ups and downs, and there are moments where you maybe suffered a loss, and you don't want to do something you regret. How do you handle that over the years?
Again, when you watch all athletes in all sports, in most cases, you have a time period where you're not at the highest level. To get to that highest level, you have to deal with some situations where you have to take a step back, where you may take a loss, where it's the learning process. And I think when you just watch and you notice that all the great players, all high achievers have had a situation where they had their learning curve. And when you understand that's part of the process, it strengthens you. So when you do well, and when you do win, you can appreciate it more.
Absolutely. We have any Red Sox fans out there? Of course, Craig was part of that championship team for the Red Sox in 2013. You can send us your questions in the chat, your first name, your high school, and who you want the question directed to. We have a question from D'Angelo at Norwich Free Academy. Craig, having played at the pro level where you go into some difficult ballparks, including Yankee Stadium, how difficult is it when someone is chirping at you to stay calm and remain a class act and not respond to maybe somebody in the crowd?
Yeah, so it's interesting. Places like Yankee Stadium, Dodger Stadium, those places are loud, right? But I think kind of that noise kind of distracts from any real meaning or any real message. I've actually found it's much harder to compete in a place like Tampa or Baltimore or Oakland, where there's only maybe a few thousand fans and you can hear each one of them individually. But looking past that, again, you can rely kind of on your sportsmanship, and what that does is it tells you that you're kind of in a foxhole with in baseball 24 others, right? And kind of in your sport, you have a unit, and you hope to kind of be able to lean on the camaraderie, the commonality of purpose, all of those important themes that are kind of fostered and facilitated through practices, through going through the adversity that Chris talked about. And you mentioned the 2013 team, and that was very, very easily kind of standing alone as the highlight of my career that season. And that team wasn't necessarily the most talented team that I've ever played on, but without question, our success was driven by kind of the character of the guys on that team. Great sports, super competitive, but also understood kind of a greater purpose. Obviously 2013 was the year that there was the horrible Boston Marathon tragedy. And something like that kind of forces perspective. And you realize that, for 2 hours or 3 hours, you can provide a distraction to a bunch of fans that might be screaming that they hope, the ball goes through your legs, you give up a home run or you walk the bases loaded, right? But being able to, to the point that was made earlier, being able to take a step back and understand kind of what small piece you play in this bigger picture, I think is really important. And in a lot of ways, that takes me kind of full circle back to the question that you asked earlier about, kind of the maturity or where you are in a developmental evolution, and understanding that there's a balance between, I was as nervous to play a high school baseball game or a little league baseball game as I was to play in the World Series, because all that was the biggest stage that I currently had available. And so understanding that, things don't grow in importance because more people are watching, right? Like this is something that comes from inside each individual, but balancing that this isn't the most important thing going on in people's lives, right? This is a sport with, at this moment, at this snapshot in time, it may be the most important thing going on in my life.
Thank you for that insight, Craig. We should mention, you'll note, Craig is a Yale graduate, once called the most intelligent man in baseball, maybe the most intelligent man in the world. A writer said that. So he has a BA in molecular biophysics and biochemistry from Yale. 10 times smarter than me. I don't know about you, Chris, but Breslow's smarter than me for sure.
But check this out. I think about 100 times smarter than me. Craig is sharp.
Hey,
man.
We've got a question for you, Chris, coming from Sine. Wants to know, what's the best way to rally a team, especially when people are feeling discouraged? Is there a speech you can usually go to start them up again? How do you feel about that? Especially during the kids are in COVID. They've missed out on sports opportunities. How do you rally teammates if they're discouraged?
I think right now, gratitude is huge. It's being appreciative that you have the opportunity to play and having fun. I think oftentimes at the higher level, maybe Craig can kind of chime in on this, the higher level you get, the less fun it seems like you have. So when you have the opportunity to play, enjoy the time you have with your teammates, and just have fun. The games are to have fun, and oftentimes we lose sight of the fun that goes into the game. Obviously, you want to win, you want to compete hard, but part of that is enjoying yourself, having fun with your teammates, and enjoying the whole entire process. I just wanted to chime in on one other thing. Toughest thing in all of sports is to win a championship. The reason it's so difficult to win a championship is because someone has to sacrifice, and that's part of being on a team. Oftentimes, the best teams have certain players who have to take a step back. They may be able to score 20 or 30, but for the betterment of the team, they take a step back and understand when I score less and someone else can do more, we all do more, we all win. So sacrifice is big, having a good time. So it's not always a speech or anything that has to go into it. I think the big thing is realizing it's a game. Like Craig said, making sure this is what's going on right now. It's not the most important thing. Obviously, it is important, but have fun. It's a game. Enjoy the process.
Chris, we just love your positive energy, and people can learn more about you at Hear Chris Speak, at Hear Chris Speak on Twitter.
Yes, sir. Hear Chris Speak on Twitter. Hear Chris Speak on Instagram. HearChrisSpeak.com is my what do you call it there?
Yeah,
My
website.
page, yes. My website, correct.
Yeah, we look forward to having you in person here when things get back to normal in Connecticut to speak.
Look forward to it.
Yeah, Craig, we had a question for you from Danbury High School, old CAS-CIAC rival, maybe. Do you have any moment or story of sportsmanship in your high school years that stands out that you remember to this day, either involving you or some other act of sportsmanship you saw? Anything come to mind? I'm putting you on the spot, but what do you recall from the Trumbull days?
Oh man, high school was a long time ago for me, far longer than I want to admit. I had a really successful high school career because I played with a lot of great teammates and I played for a lot of great coaches. Off the top of my head, it's difficult to think of any individual moment aside from, like I said, a bunch of great teammates who kind of pursued different endeavors, but many of whom became successful, many of whom are still friends. And I think that kind of speaks to those friendships that you make early on in your life. They're lasting, and it may not always seem so, but I think that's truly the case. the catcher that I threw to, who's one of my best friends, went on to play at Brown. And despite the fact that we were, kind of high school teammates and then college rivals, we were always wishing, the best for each other. A number of underclassmen went on to have very successful collegiate baseball careers, and we all kind of remained in touch. So rather than being able to point to kind of a single event, I think I would just point more to kind of the culture that high school sports has the potential to instill.
Yeah, we agree with that 100%. Guys, just a minute or so left. Rapid fire, if I can get a response from both of you, starting with you, Chris. Growing up, did you have a role model that you tried to model yourself after? And not necessarily their skill, but the way you carried yourself. Was it a
no question about it.
Was it an
Born and raised in Philadelphia. Again, as I stated to you previously, I have a lot of Connecticut background. My 3 roommates at Manhattan College are from Connecticut, and I love for Bristol, Bridgeport, and New Haven. So I'm a adopted son. But growing up in Philly, Julius Erving, Dr. J was my guy, and obviously very good player. But the way he carried himself off the court with class, I wanted to be like the doc.
And Craig, any role model for you? I know your dad would be a pretty good one.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And both of my parents were kind of the consummate teachers, coaches, friends, colleagues. I grew up a fan of the Mets. They were kind of the preeminent team in the late 80s, and then always had an affinity for Sandy Koufax as kind of a fellow left-handed pitcher. And then when I made it to the big leagues, the kind of consummate professional that took me under his wing was Trevor Hoffman. I shared a bullpen with him for a brief moment, and still I'm still in touch with him. But when you think about a guy who just kind of exuded professionalism and class, he's a guy I would point to.
Well, speaking of class, you two have it in spades. Thank you, Chris Williams. Thank you, Craig Breslow, for making time for us and the nearly 800 students across Connecticut this morning. We appreciate it very much and look forward to reconnecting in the future.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen. We hope you're taking inspiration from the program today and those CAS-CIAC videos you saw earlier. We have 2 more to show you. And again, maybe these are things you want to try at your school. And we're talking to you in Pennsylvania, too, that one school that's joining us today. And for this look at CAS-CIAC videos, we go to the Southwest Conference to visit Massac, Monroe, and Bethel High School.
My name is Megan, and I'm from Massac High School. I serve on my school's CAS-CIAC Council. This council is made up of athletes from different sports and different grades that have demonstrated excellent sportsmanship and leadership both on and off the field. Our aim for this council is to help improve the athletic experience for our athletes, coaches, officials, opponents, and fans by encouraging positive play, sportsmanship, and most importantly, unity. This is only our 2nd year of being a council, and we are continually striving to help expand our influence on the athletic community. This year, we have undertaken numerous different initiatives to help enhance the athletic experience for all so that no one feels uncomfortable or dissatisfied. Here are some of the things that we as a council have done to strengthen our community, better the experience, and promote sportsmanship.
Hi everyone, my name is Amanda Campos, and I'm one of the acting members on the Massac CAS-CIAC Council. So due to the uprising of the coronavirus last March, we had felt over time that there was a huge disconnection in our student-athlete community and our community as a whole. So as a council, we had decided to host a virtual 5K. We had sent out Google Forms, and whoever wanted to participate just had to sign up. We had also sold these shirts with participating. As a council, we had felt that this was a great way for our community to come together while in solitary and do something that was safe for everyone. It was a way to get outside and get some exercise and do something that maybe you normally wouldn't have done. It was a way of feeling a sense of community while being safe. So here's just a couple pictures of some people who had decided to participate.
Council and the rest of the athletic department here at Massac, we're delighted to be able to honor the officials and referees at our sporting events this past fall. We are grateful for these individuals that sacrifice their time in order to be out officiating every game. Without them, the competition wouldn't be possible. In the pictures flashing below, you will see some of our players handing off goodie bags with some snacks, drinks, and a card to the officials at their respective games. Sports such as volleyball, field hockey, soccer, swimming, and more had the chance to participate and show these officials their appreciation. Whether it be a friendly scrimmage or the SWC Championship, we plan on extending that appreciation throughout all seasons with our actions on and off the field.
As a part of MASIC's Class Act Council's initiative to promote sportsmanship at all MASIC sports events, we have come up with the idea of creating 2 large banners with quotes promoting excellent sportsmanlike conduct. These banners will be located in both the basketball gym and at the turf field to ensure that all athletes and fan sections at MASIC can see the banners and be reminded of the sportsmanship we pride ourselves with here at MASIC.
Good morning to all Connecticut high schools attending today's virtual CIAC Sportsmanship Conference. Bethel High School is extremely honored to be a recipient of the 2020 to 2021 Michaels Cup Award. The 4 of us, Maggie,
Ruby, Brooke,
Lorenzo, are all student athletes at Bethel High School that make up the Class Act Council leadership team that we call Wildcats Are Responsible. This club's mission is the following. We strive for a healthier environment for the student body of Bethel High School. It is our mission to inform and educate our peers about important issues in our school community. Some of these issues include peer pressure, effects of substance abuse, appropriate training and recovery, good sportsmanship, and creating an inclusive environment.
Although this year has been a challenge, our club has used virtual meetings to stay connected and to organize community outreach events. The first event that our club organized was a letter writing campaign for senior citizens in the town of Bethel. Wildcats Are Responsible is made up of student athletes of all sports, so the challenge was to see which program could write the most letters. The campaign lasted 2 weeks, and student athletes at BHS wrote over 200 letters that were delivered to senior centers around the town of Bethel.
An annual event that our club sponsors is to support Chris Herron's Project Purple mission. The Project Purple's mission is to educate youth about the dangers of drug and alcohol abuse and empower students to spread positive peer influence and improve school culture. Each year, our club has a Project Purple Day. During the school day, Wildcats Are Responsible members read alarming statistics about drug and alcohol use and its impact on the community. Second, during lunch period, students are asked to sign a Project Purple pledge. Students that sign the pledge receive a free Project Purple shirt and tickets to the game that night. Lastly, the day culminates with the Purple Wave game. This is a boys or girls basketball game where all participants wear purple to show support for the cause. Included at halftime is a speaker that talks to the student body about the Project Purple mission. This year, since students will not be allowed to attend basketball games, we plan on doing our Project Purple Day at a spring event. One unique way the athletic department encourages great sportsmanship on the field is our Athlete of the Week program. Every week during a sports season, coaches nominate students that show outstanding leadership and sportsmanship. These nominations go to the athletic director, who ultimately decides who the 2 athletes of the week are. Recipients get a t-shirt, a picture on the wall outside the gymnasium, recognized on social media, and invited to the end of the year breakfast. To achieve Athlete of the Week status has become a big deal around school and is something all of our athletes strive for.
Creating a safe and respectful environment for all athletes is something that the administration is always striving for at BHS. One tool that we have used for a few years and the SWC has adopted last season was a fan code of conduct. These are a list of expectations that are displayed, announced, and reinforced throughout our contests and throughout the year.
We hope you enjoyed this brief look into Bethel High's athletics and how we are carrying out our Class Act mission.
Opioids don't care about your dreams. Educate yourself on the risk of prescription drug misuse. Change the script. Learn more at drugfreect.org.
And thank you to Max Preps for use of that video. Absolutely awesome. The hug scene around the world. And the guy behind it who was pitching in that game and had the presence of mind to give his good buddy a hug before celebrating with his teammates joins us now from St. Paul, Minnesota. It is Ty Koehn, who's a junior in college at Bethel University. Ty, thanks so much for your time. I think we have Ty muted at the moment, but if we can unmute Ty, that'd be great, as well as our student interviewers. Ty, welcome in.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And as you know, we're going to have our student broadcasters who we saw at the top of the conference do the interview with you. I want to introduce them. Erin Kavanagh from Glastonbury High School, a senior. She is the host of the G Sports Show. Hi, Erin.
Hi.
With filming and with the video editing. We'll tell you more about Erin in a little bit when we get to the Battle of the Fans. And then Jacob Irons, the voice of Plainfield High School, a PA announcer, play-by-play announcer, as you can see behind him, the host of the Panther podcast. So Erin and Jacob, take it away. Erin, you start with Ty.
Okay, Ty, thank you so much for joining us this morning. So I'm sure that moment is ingrained in your head for what I assume to be forever. Describe to me exactly what happened during that moment, starting with the thoughts in your head before that final pitch and ending with you embracing your old teammate and what is now known as the hug scene around the world.
Yeah, so I'd actually say it starts all the way back at the beginning of our section playoffs. Mounds View actually played Totino Grace in a double elimination. And Jack Koehn, my friend, he actually ended up hitting the game-winning base hit to beat us and send us back down to the losers bracket. And so it's kind of awesome to see how that kind of all comes back around. So then we had to beat Totino Grace twice in order to go on to the state tournament. And we beat them in the first game, and the second game was just the intensity was just right as high as it could be. I was so nervous. I didn't even actually know I was pitching until like 10 minutes before the game. And so, I mean, of course, my priority was getting the win for my teammates and continuing our season. But and I had no idea that Jack was going to be the last hitter. So, of course, my first priority was getting the win. But once I saw in the bottom of the seventh with 2 outs, I saw Jack coming up. My heart kind of sank. I know every athlete's been in that position where they're the last hope for their team, and I wouldn't wish that on any of my worst enemies. And so, but again, my priority was getting that win. And I always, in my previous interviews, I always said it was kind of just instinctual. I didn't even really think about it until it kind of happened. And after, I was like, oh, yeah, like, wow, like I didn't even expect myself to do that. And so it was really a cool moment.
And then, Ty, we see you embrace him. What did you say to him to try and console your best friend after just losing a very tough fought game?
Oh man, yeah. I mean, it was a long time ago, 3 years now. I don't even remember exactly what I said, but I mean, it went along the lines of, it wasn't your fault. I mean, there's 7 innings to a game. There's 9 players on the team. This doesn't all come down to you're a great athlete. I've grown up with you and I've watched you play. And I know how good you are. Don't let this moment define you. Those were kind of just a few things I said in those couple seconds. And I hope I got the message across.
And something that I've kind of recognized is that, we watch a lot of sports on national TV, watching the Super Bowl the other day, we just see like a ton of players butting heads. And part of that comes down to character, and you obviously check all the boxes and more for what a good character has and shows. But a lot of it also comes down to the view of the game, whether you're there just to win, to learn, or to like embrace the opportunity in front of you. So my question for you is, what is your view of the game of baseball, and how do you feel it differs from others in that aspect?
Yeah, I mean, outside the game itself, I think of it as a great chance to interact with my friends and my community, and kind of develop good characteristics of like leadership, and teamwork and camaraderie. But when it comes down, when I get into a game, it's definitely about, I love the competition. I love competing. I love winning, to be honest. And that's what keeps me in the game for so long. But when it all comes down to it, it is really about, the relationships I build and the character development over the years. And that's something I really appreciate about the game.
You've become an exemplar of sportsmanship across the entire nation. What does that mean to you to be associated with such a great characteristic of sportsmanship?
Yeah, I mean, it's awesome. I never would have expected it. I mean, me and Jack always talk about, this moment was definitely, it was meant for just me and him. I mean, I know there were fans there and they got it on video and it ended up blowing up, but it was really just meant between me and him. And so it is cool. It's kind of like almost like a win-win. Like I didn't even really expect it. But if you kind of just take a step back and you kind of see some of the impacts, like just recently, I got a book in the mail that I wasn't expecting, and someone had actually written a whole chapter about me in one of their novels, and that was just so awesome to see it kind of continue to impact, even when that wasn't my original intention, and it continues to see an impact today, which is really cool.
And then you touched upon it. What other cool experiences have you gotten from this act of sportsmanship?
Yeah, one of my favorites, I think, it's not really a lot of people might think it was going on Good Morning America in New York and getting that ESPY, but I like the small things. One of my favorite moments, I'm a huge Star Wars fan, ginormous, and my brother texted me and he's like, dude, Mark Hamill tweeted about you, Luke Skywalker. And I was like, there's no way. You got to be joking. Like, this is my favorite character of all time. And he's tweeting about me. I mean, I was just starstruck. And I'll probably never forget that moment. I think I still have the screenshot on my phone, which is awesome.
That's very cool. So, another one of the questions along sportsmanship is, what is some advice that you would give younger athletes, high school athletes, when it comes to sportsmanship? How do you think that they should kind of display themselves similar to you?
Yeah, I'd say sportsmanship is kind of, in terms of my experience, it's differentiating between when it's time to compete and when it's time to show class and when it's time to be respectful. Yes, competition is so important. I mean, that's why we play. We want to win. But kind of being able to kind of recognize when one's appropriate versus the other will help not only you strive as a better character, but as a better athlete. And that starts with like setting tone at practices and games and kind of being that leader and showing other players what kind of the differences between those two. So for example, like during my game, I was in the zone. I was giving the guys small little pep talks in the team meetings between innings. And but then once that game was over, once we got that win, kind of noticing, okay, well, the game's over, the competition's over, we've won, and now what's the next most important thing? And that was, for me, that was consoling Jack and telling him that wasn't his fault and things like that.
Ty, absolutely beautiful. Thank you for your time. Jacob and Aaron, you guys, as I said, rising stars in the broadcasting world. Thank you for doing the interview. And the ironic thing for me is that unfortunately, currently now with the COVID restrictions, a hug like this would be frowned upon. That's the sad part right now, the close contact. So we want to get back to normal. We're working towards that here in Connecticut and here at the CIAC. All three of you, thank you again for your time this morning.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We want to get some more inspiration and put the focus on students a little more with our 2021 campaign. And you can take part in this. Send us a 20-second video or 21-word statement on how sportsmanship comes alive at your school. We will share those on social media the rest of the week. Also, right now, tag us at CIAC Sports on Twitter and Instagram. Send us some photos with the t-shirts and how you're watching the conference today. But let's look at some more of those 2021 campaign videos and statements from students across the state.
Hi, my name is Johnny Jones. I'm a member of Bloomfield High School's Class Act Council. The pledge that we play by here is, win or lose, I pledge as a Warhawk to compete and cheer for my team in a positive and respectful manner. I pledge to be a good citizen and take responsibility for all my actions. I promise to be a caring and trustworthy member of the Warhawk community and take pride in all that I do.
What does sportsmanship mean to me? It's staying humble, even if you win. It's celebrating the littlest things and the biggest things with style, grace, and dignity. And most importantly, it's respecting each other and the game.
Growing up in Canton schools, you learn the values of teamwork, hard work, and respect, which all come into play both on the field, in court, and in the stands. To us, sportsmanship means respecting all of the dedication athletes put into their sports, always having a positive attitude towards others, and are willing to learn no matter the outcome.
Hi, we are the Brookfield High School cheerleaders, and we are proud to be part of the CIAC Sportsmanship Conference.
Let's hear it! We want to hear you yell! Are you ready? Yeah! Are you ready? Yeah! Are you ready? Yeah! Can I get a go? Go! Can I get a big? Big! Can I get a blue? Blue! Go! Big blue! Can I get a go? Go! Can I get a big? Big! Can I get a blue? Blue! Go! Big blue! Go! Big blue! Go! Big blue!
We've got your back. Harassment and abuse happens in all communities. It is important to believe and support each other. Learn more at endsexualviolencect.org.
And thanks to all our partners for their support of the Sportsmanship Conference. Very much appreciated. Terrific to see the cheerleading groups, Bloomfield, Newtown. I did not see that coming, Newtown, with the Hawk. That was terrific. And Brookfield, thank you so much for being a part of the conference. And again, if you want to submit a 2021 video, a 20-second video or 21-word statement, you can do it tagging us at CIAC Sports. We want to move on to the Battle of the Teams, your chance to produce a video and improve how good sportsmanship is at your school. It's a little different this year. Typically, it's the Battle of the Fans, but it's something new this year, the Battle of the Teams. Last year, by the way, the young lady we met, Erin Cabana, the interviewer, she was behind the winning video from Glastonbury High School, and she has set the bar very high. To learn more about that, we say hello to my CAS-CIAC colleague, Charisse Miller-Odukwe.
Good morning. My name is Charisse Miller-Odukwe, Director of Student Activities at CAS-CIAC. I am here today along with two Student Athletic Advisory Board members to announce our 2020 Battle of the Fans winner and to give you a sneak peek on what this year's Battle of the Fans will look like. So without further ado, I would like to introduce Fiona Fredericks.
Good morning. My name is Fiona Fredericks, and I'm a senior at Old Lyme High School, and I play lacrosse. Sportsmanship and positive student interactions are at the heart of the mission of the CAS-CIAC. The Battle of the Fans, first introduced in the 2014-2015 school year, is designed to inspire and recognize schools that use sporting events as an opportunity to foster a welcoming and fun school climate through supportive and creative cheering and behavior. Schools produce and submit a short video demonstrating their commitment to positive fan behavior and highlighting the great things they are doing to promote sportsmanship and school spirit. Members of the CAS-CIAC Student Athletic Advisory Board and the CAS-CIAC Sportsmanship Committee judged the videos and identified two finalists. CAS-CIAC staff then visits each finalist school on a game night and then selects its overall winner. After a very difficult decision with all the amazing videos that were submitted by so many schools, the 2020 CAS-CIAC Battle of the Fans winner is Glastonbury High School. Here is a clip of the winning video.
Hello, my name is Justin Aquendo. I'm a senior at Civic Leadership High School. I play basketball, baseball, and cross country. Congratulations again to Glastonbury High School. This year, the Student Athletic Advisory Board decided that even with sports looking somewhat different, we still wanted to give schools the opportunity to demonstrate their positive sportsmanship and school spirit. Therefore, for the 2020-2021 school year, the CAS-CIAC Student Athletic Advisory Board and the Sportsmanship Committee are excited to announce for the very first time the Battle of the Teams. For more information, please visit CAS-CIAC.org. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of the conference.
Earn your degree tuition-free. Learn more at nationalguard.com/CT.
Also, a shout out this morning to Event Resources out of East Hartford that is providing the production today, doing a fabulous job with it. If you have a big meeting you need to produce virtually, check out Event Resources. Lee Simmons, Natalie Potter have been a big helps in pulling this conference off, no question about it. We're just a few minutes away from announcing the inaugural winners of the CIAC Sportsmanship Award. That comes with a grant, so stay tuned for that. But first, a special time to honor the 16 schools across Connecticut that this year are among the best of the best, getting Michaels Cup Awards.
My name is Mark Michaels, current chairman of the Michaels Family Foundation, and welcome you to the 2020 CIAC Sportsmanship Conference. It's been a privilege to participate in CIAC's platform for promoting sportsmanship in our state for over 40 years. Our foundation was made possible by a 5-generation business here in Connecticut. On a personal note, I experienced the importance of sportsmanship coaching my daughter's AYSO soccer team for 8 years. The Michaels Achievement Cup purpose was to encourage and recognize our school efforts to make sportsmanship a key focus of all sports programs culture. Our student game plan was to bring visibility to the importance of respect for others. In closing, we thank you for your participation, which will make a difference by helping our young people understand the concept of mutual respect on and off the field of sports. Especially with today's social challenges, these principles are more important than ever to prepare them to make a better world for us all. Now, to celebrate and learn more about the 16 Connecticut high schools being honored with the Michaels Cup, it's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Beth Smith from the Shelton Public Schools.
Thank you, Mark. And thanks to Michaels Jewelers for your continued support and sponsorship of this program. I serve as chairperson of the Michaels Cup Selection Committee, and I'm honored to be here with you virtually here today to recognize 16 exemplary athletic programs with a focus on sportsmanship initiatives. Amity Regional High School developed senior send-offs during full remote learning last spring to honor the senior athletes who had no spring season. They also engaged in lesson development for use in a school-wide Spartan seminar, as well as a fall coaches appreciation letter. Bethel High School's Class Act Council has embraced the league-wide initiative to improve sportsmanship at sporting events. They developed a group called the Brick Squad to carry out this initiative at Bethel High School games. Bethel's Class Act Council has launched other initiatives to engage student athletes in their school's community. Bloomfield High School's Class Act Council annually hosts a sportsmanship workshop where they present their pillars of sportsmanship and teach the Warhawk Sportsmanship Pledge. Class Act Council members also helped build morale for their fellow student athletes during the COVID-19 shutdown through virtual events. In addition, they served as liaisons at Board of Education meetings. Brookfield High School's Class Act Council continues to be one of the more active ones in the state. Their projects have included helping design a statewide COVID-19 public service announcement, handing out thank you cards for officials at games, and presenting Class Act initiatives at 4 different CIAC-sponsored events. Their work in the community also included food and toy drives. Granby Memorial High School's Class Act program has created a culture where good sportsmanship is valued and celebrated. All stakeholders in the Granby Memorial community met throughout the year to create ways on how to promote the positive standards, which all attendees are expected to adhere to at athletic events. The athletic department meets with the captains of each team, and they are asked to display sportsmanship, appropriate behavior, ethics, values, character development, and leadership, both on and off the field. Joel Barlow High School's Class Act Council has strived to always have its student athletes represent Joel Barlow and the communities of Easton and Reading in the best way possible. They seek to provide a supportive, safe, and enriching environment for all students. Ledyard High School's Class Act Council has done a terrific job of taking a leadership role in their community, school, and in the athletic arena to promote sportsmanship and goodwill in athletics. This student-led group has exceeded the expectations of the school community. They exemplify high character and understand the responsibility and privilege that comes along with being a student athlete. Old Lyme High School student athletes made supporting each other at games a priority. During soccer and lacrosse games, they would sit on their stone wall exhibiting support for each other. They also have a sportsmanship committee that is active in their school community, while students engage in community service projects, which include raising money for breast cancer awareness. Norwalk High School student athletes have celebrated their diversity and promoted a positive school climate through events such as a school-wide pep rally, which celebrates accomplishments of several school groups. Norwalk has also taken great pride in the development of their unified sports program, which continues to grow every year, both with athletes and partners. Norwalk's Bears Beating Cancer Club engages in important fundraising efforts. Simsbury High School's Student Athlete Leadership Council's goal is to improve student support at school events. They also fostered virtual connections during these challenging times when in-person bonding may not have always been possible. The work of the Simsbury High School Student Athlete Leadership Council makes them a worthy recipient of the Michaels Cup. Stanford High School's Class Act Council embarked on fundraising projects to help their community, as Stanford was one of the hardest hit towns by COVID-19. They raised $5,000 for the Bennett Cancer Center at Stanford Hospital and an additional $1,500 for the Stanford COVID-19 Relief Fund. Suffield High School's Student Athlete Advisory Committee hosted a sportsmanship seminar for the North Central Connecticut Conference. The committee also hosted a So You Think You Want to Play in College information night for any student interested in playing at the next level. They had a panel of experts present to their athletes. Finally, they created their own Suffield High School athletic core values. Westbrook High School calls its student leadership group the Knights of the Round Table. Westbrook has integrated restorative practices in order to resolve team issues. They also participate in community service projects as well as unified sports. Westbrook has also taken the Class Act program into their middle school. Weston High School has incorporated an overall athletic philosophy of focusing on the process, not just the results, which has helped them to consistently achieve at high levels for a smaller school. Their attitude, sportsmanship, teamwork, coachability, cooperativeness, competitiveness, leadership, and being a good role model is the foundation that drives their athletes and coaches to be the best they can be on and off the field. Wolcott Tech's Class Act Council is dedicated to making their sports program one that embraces sportsmanship. This year, they emphasized the treatment of officials and acted on this initiative in several ways, such as student letters to officials stating their appreciation for them. These student athletes also engaged in various community projects, which included decorating and taking part in a breakfast with Santa at a soup kitchen. Woodstock Academy makes serving others part of their mission of their athletic department. In addition to traditional sportsmanship, student athletes participate in community service projects on a regular basis. Nearly every team conducts a community service project. This includes the girls' soccer team and field hockey team holding a burpee challenge to raise money for the mother of an athlete from one of their local rivals that was battling cancer. That kind of compassion for others makes Woodstock Academy a worthy recipient of the Michaels Cup. Congratulations to all of our recipients. We wish you continued success.
Hello, my name is David Dennehy. I'm the athletic director at St. Paul Catholic High School in Bristol, and I am the president of the Connecticut Association of Athletic Directors. In an effort to promote the social and emotional growth of our student athletes, the CIAC, in conjunction with the CAD Foundation and the Michaels Jewelers Family Foundation, is sponsoring our first Sportsmanship Award. The intention of this award is to support school initiatives and educating students to the ideas supported by the CIAC toward education-based athletics. The awards were determined by the CAC Sportsmanship Committee and are based on the following criteria. Number 1, how well the program supports tolerance, acceptance, and respect. Number 2, how well the program directly affects the growth of students. Number 3, how well the program supports the ideas of sportsmanship detailed in the CIAC Class Act program. Of note, your school does not have to be a Class Act school to be recognized with this award. And number 4, how broadly the program touches the students and athletes at your school. In addition to initiating this award, the CIAC is pleased to announce that we are naming the award after CAD Executive Director Fred Balsamo. Fred has made a tremendous impact in promoting leadership and sportsmanship within the CIAC. He was instrumental in initiating the Class Act program, the Michaels Cup Award, coaching education, and has spent a lifetime of service to student athletes in Connecticut. The recipients for the first Fred Balsamo Sportsmanship Award are Brantford High School, Athletic Director Thomas Ermini; Cheshire High School, Athletic Director Steve Trafone; Foreign High School, Athletic Director Anthony Vitelli. The Connecticut Association of Athletic Directors wishes to thank all the schools who participated in this program, and we urge all schools to continue to promote good sportsmanship. Thank you.
And thank you, Dave. What a classy gesture to name that after Fred Balsamo, who has just put in decades supporting in education and supporting high school students and high school athletes. And it's an SEC sweep in our inaugural year for the Fred Balsamo Scholarship Award. We'll be back doing that again next year and look forward to awarding more grants to deserving schools. We hope you got some inspiration out of this. Stay in touch with us at CIAC Sports on Twitter and Instagram. Would love to see more of those 2021 videos or statements, how sportsmanship comes alive at your school and what sportsmanship means to you. Now, you are some of the classiest athletes in Connecticut. We appreciate you being with us and the tone you set at your schools, even during the difficult, challenging times during a pandemic. I wanted to relate one story from yesterday as our staff delivered t-shirts all over the state, and Henry Rondon on our staff was the star of that, probably getting to about 40 different schools. I was at one school in the snow delivering t-shirts, and the athletic director pulled up in front of the building to meet me to take the t-shirts, and he had a plow on the front of his truck. And I said, "What is that, a side job for you?" And he said, "I actually plow for elderly people in town and a couple retired teachers at no cost." That's the type of kindness that the ADs in Connecticut carry themselves with. And I know that you students carry yourself with that as well. Now, sportsmanship often, it has to be organic. You just can't go out and decide when it's safe after COVID to just hug an opponent and hope it goes viral. You need to practice these things daily. Kindness in the classroom and in the arena for sports, no matter what you're involved with. Just a message to think about. How does sportsmanship come alive at your school? A special thanks to our staff here at the CIAC for their hard work on this. Greg Simon, Joe Velarde, the previously mentioned Henry Rondon, Mary Lee Weber down in our Branford Bureau today, Charisse Miller, and a special thank you to Erin Garino, who put in more hours on this than you could possibly imagine. And she was the person who designed that t-shirt that looks so great that so many of you have shared photos of, and we really appreciate. And a special thanks to Jostens and Jostens Renaissance, who provided the capacity for hundreds and hundreds of people to join us on the Zoom webinar today, and allowed us to hear from the gentleman we close with, the one and only Dr. Phil Campbell, PC. He has the final words. Thanks so much for being with us this morning.
Connecticut, what is up? My name is Dr. Phil Campbell. I go by PC. I am so honored to get to be a part of this amazing conference with you all here today. Don't blink. I was fortunate to have the opportunity to play college baseball at Middle Tennessee State University for head coach Steve Peterson. My senior year, we're getting ready to go down to the University of Louisiana Lafayette, and the day before we left at practice, Coach Pete came into the huddle and he says, "Fellas, don't blink." And he proceeded to explain to us how their team feeds off of the energy of their crowd, and how as soon as you face some adversity, as soon as you make a mistake on the base path, as soon as you make an error on defense, as soon as you hit a batter, that crowd energy starts to build, and it's almost like they just will their team to victory. Fellas, don't blink. We went down there, we won that Friday night game 2-1, best baseball game that I have ever been a part of. And on Saturday, we're cruising right along, we're winning the game 3-1, we're on defense, there's a runner on first base, routine ground ball to shortstop. I mean, tailor-made double play ball. And our shortstop kicked it. And just like Coach Pete said, here came that crowd energy. And a couple of batters later, wham! A kid hit a ball off the wall. They put up a crooked number. We found ourselves behind the 8 ball. We lost that game 6-3. Fellas, don't blink. This pandemic's been hard. It's been difficult. It's been challenging. It's been all the things for everybody, both young and old alike, right? But I want to ask you this question, and I want you to take some serious time to reflect on this. Over the course of the last 11 months, what kind of leader have you been? What kind of leader have you been on your campus and in your community for your classmates and for the adults that work at your school? You see, y'all, it's easy to lead when things are good, right? It's easy to lead when you're winning. It's easy to be happy and to be in a good mood when everything's going your way. But what kind of leader are you when you face adversity? What kind of leader are you when there's some bumps in the road? What kind of leader are you when things don't go the way that you necessarily want them to go? What kind of leader are you then? I also want to ask you this question. Who are you at your core? What's your identity? Unfortunately, a lot of you lost your seasons last spring. A lot of you lost your seasons this last fall and this winter. Some of you may not even be back to playing ball yet. I don't know. Who are you when you don't have sports? Because there's going to come a day for each and every single one of us when we don't get to put that uniform on anymore. It may be after high school. It may be after college. Some of you may have the opportunity to play professional sports, right? But for each and every single one of us, there comes a day when we don't get to put the uniform on anymore. And when that day comes for you, who are you going to be then? What's your identity going to be? What's going to be the skills and the characteristics and the habits, and what is your work ethic going to be like at that point in time? Because that is what truly is going to define what your legacy is going to be. Who are you without sports? Understand me when I say this. As challenging, as difficult as this entire thing has been, y'all, you're in control of you. This is your life that you're living. This is your story that you're writing. This is your legacy that you're creating. Don't blink. Thank you so much for the opportunity to get to be a part of this incredible, incredible conference. I wish you all a tremendous, tremendous rest of your school year. I see you, I hear you, and I love you. Chase your dreams, kids. Peace.